Hello, my name is Gabriel, and in the last episode, we left off with the idea that we should learn how to size our problem. What this means is that how much user interface do we need, how fast does it have to be, how many customers does it have to serve, and other things like this. So, in front of you here, we have software called OpenWebUI. It is the software that I will be using as a chat interface because I'm hosting my own models. You don't have to have this, and it is not a requirement. Yes, we will be using prompts and LLMs, but you can use any other software, or you can use an open LLM like Gemini, ChatGPT, Claude. You can use an agent. You can use Visual Studio Code, whatever makes you happy and whatever you're comfortable with, it will work. It is, don't consider this software as a need or as an entry point. Where we left yesterday was the fact that it was a red box that represented the backend of our software. And this red box in the past was developed by people. Now, to the left of this red box yesterday, we had some going back and forth. This represents the data we for our hotel. Data can come from multiple places. Let's say you want to import your reservations for booking. Maybe we have different arrow. Let's say you want Airbnb. It will also be a bidirectional arrow because maybe when we update a reservation, it should go back to Airbnb as well. Then we have local providers. So these, how do we think about those? We can really get stuck at it and try to go to each one of those websites, create an account, see what ways of communication they have and actually implement it. Or we can ignore this step for the moment. It is not really necessary. This is literally the easy part because if we go to, so here they have some URLs and some explanation on how to integrate with them. So this part is already done by them, and I'm very sure that they also have research for booking, reservations, API, staging. Okay, so they call it sandbox, they call it a staging. But they provide examples and URLs on how their flows work, what we need to integrate with them, what they expose, what we have to send back. And if we create an account, I'm pretty sure there is a website where we can actually send these requests. So, ah, so they have this thingy where, okay, what is this one? Create an order. Okay, so here we can create a booking on the booking website if we respect this information that they expect. So on so. Okay, so they offer two versions. The fact that they offer two versions, it's an important thing. It means that by default, whenever they feel like making a breaking change, their methodology is to create a new version, is not to modify the existing version. And this is a very, very good thing to have for a system integrator. They have examples, they have a website with examples, and on top of it, they have an environment where you don't need an actual hotel or a store to test your code. I did not check Airbnb, but I expect the same. However, the small providers would be different. What we have seen there is that we can consider this blue arrow for booking to actually not be just one arrow, but be multiple arrows. Because every time they make a new version, they keep that, and they also keep integration with the old versions. And this is quite important for us. First of all, once we write our thing, it will not break easily. And second of all, we can ask another LLM here, if we are not tech savvy, to accept what they give and to translate into what we already have. And that LLM will write translation for us. that will exist on our server. Maybe it will not be the fastest, but it will be, and it will handle this. So this is the left part of the problem. Now, only the left part of the problem, this one. This one, how do we go about analyzing what we need for our platform? How much data do we need? Usually, good rule of thumb would be to consider how many people will be using our platform. Since our red square is for internal use mostly, so we want our receptionists to handle reservations and things like this. Think about how many receptionists we have. Let's say we have maybe 3 receptionists. Then there are multiple people in the hotel that have to have access to this information. For instance, all the team leads of different teams. Let's say there is one team lead for cleaning, one team lead for restaurant, one, I don't know, one team lead for, here is called portier, the guys that handle transport and everything else. Then there will be at least, let's say, 2 managers of some sort, because the same information that we get for bookings are used differently by all these people. The receptionists have to operate on the booking itself most of the time. Then a cleaning team has to see how many rooms are to be cleaned during the day and make a plan for it. Then the restaurant have to prepare in advance meals and accommodate for allergies and stuff like this. Then there is the portier that needs to be aware of which guests will be checking out in the next period to plan trips to the train station, then which guests have trips planned inside the city to drive them around, so on and so forth. And then the manager has to use the same information to create reports and analyze what can be done better in the hotel. So we already have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people that need to use this information. Then comes on the booking part, uh, how many rooms does a hotel have? That's case by case. Let's take a big number, a hotel with 200 rooms. Now, in the same room, how many guests can there be? There can be, I guess, between 1 and 6 if there is a group of guests. Out of these guests, sometimes there can be preferences. These special preferences are slightly funny because sometimes they can be related to cleaning. So, for example, we have a kid or we have a dog and we need extra cleaning or something special for a dog. They can impact the restaurant. There are allergies, for example, and they have to be taken account of. They can impact reception. If there is a more expensive hotel and you do something special for weddings or birthdays, so on and so forth, these have to be there also. And you can format them in a standardized way. However, when your guests will be writing down in text area what they want as special preferences, they will write it as free text. So although you can manage this in a somewhat structured way, in reality, it is much easier for the people that book to have a text area, free text, where they write their own thing. And it will be even more clear and more easy for you to understand their needs if you let them write in their own language. LLMs are pretty good at translating nowadays. So even if they have spelling mistakes or something, letting them write in their own language, it will be more comfortable and less error prone than asking them to translate into English and then put an English text in there. And why is that? Because they will use a translation software. And in that translation software, since they don't know the outcoming language, so since they don't know English or French or whatever, they will see that they write something on the left and on the right there are letters, and they will be happy, like, the translation worked, and they paste the letters for you. And the letters may not have a good meaning. Same for email. Most of the time, after a booking has been placed, the customer is curious about what goes into that room, what is the view, what else should they expect, things like this. And they will be sending an email. And this email it's nothing special, but it takes some time to answer it. And if you don't answer it in a timely manner, then the customer will see you as less professional than others. So we have the special preferences. Then comes the errors. So we have integration errors. So maybe booking had a bug or had some delay or something, and they don't send you data right away. So delay errors, more non-technical way. Then there can be synchronization error. So for example, they send properly. However, maybe they have a bug related to dates and they don't respect the format or the time zone. And you do receive the reservations. However, these reservations have a wrong status or will end up having a wrong status in your main application because the dates are either in the past or in the future. So this is a different type of problem that you need to solve and have in consideration. On top of this, we can ignore for now things related to batching. For example, how many information they expect at once and how many information they deliver. This we can solve later. There can be corrupted data also. Let's assume instead of sending proper name, time a guest has special characters. There is something called encoding, and sometimes instead of receiving the special characters in a name, you will receive things like this, or you will receive numbers or any other combination of stuff. So because of this, we will have here sanitization. And then there is a special type of situation. You'll have reservations that don't have to go to booking. For example, you have employees that work for a hotel for a short period of time, or there are special events whom you want to host in your hotel, but they have to obey other rules. They will have to exist in a room, yes, but they don't have to go to book. Also, some of the rooms might be special because you would like them to not be for rent all the time. You would like to save maybe 2 or 3 rooms, reserve them for people that still come to the actual hotel and they ask for a reservation. So this is a simple analysis on how many people have to use your website for analyzing the data. We did not include the people that your guests who might actually want to use the website to read information or something. That's a different case. Then you have to size your data accordingly, because if you design a system to support 2 users super fast, or if you design it to have some rooms like 10, 20 rooms, but in reality you have 200, it is a different problem. Same for the number of guests. If you don't take in account how many guests can be in a room and what is their special preferences, your display might not be good enough to be used. Then you have the errors that we have identified, or at least some of the errors that we have identified. These have to be taken into account. And then we have the special type of people that we have identified. So when we design the data in the next episode, and we will take into account all this, we will have some variations that we will send to our LLM and see what can work, see what's the performance, and see how we can improve things. Thank you very much, and see you in the next one.